standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Good morning, and welcome to this online worship service of Neshoba Unitarian Universalist Church in Cordova, Tennessee. I am the Reverend Beth Lefever, pleased and privileged as always to serve as the pastor of this congregation, and I am so very glad that you are able to join with us this morning. Our opening words are by Jason Shelton. Morning has come. Arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. And now Jeanne Ortmann will light our chalice.
We light this chalice for hope that as we send our children out the door for the start of a new school year, they will come home safely each day from any virus or harm. We light this chalice for peace within ourselves to deal with many challenges we face for the start of a new school year. To all teachers, students, and parents, may you find the peace needed to get through each day, one day at a time. We light this chalice for love, the love of this church family that we can reach out to in times of need. We know we can look to each other for words of encouragement and to share all the joys and sorrows we have in our lives. Please join me in reciting the words of our affirmation of covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
This morning, I'm going to share a story with you from the Ashanti tribe in Africa. It's a story that uplifts the values of community and fairness and I hope you will find yourself somewhere in this story, and it's called Anansi the Spider by Gerald McDermott. Folklore, mythology, a people's legend, traditional stories as in Africa. Mythology transforms, making the ordinary into magical. It brings beauty to the ways of people, giving dignity and expressing joy in life. Folklore prepares people for adult life. It places him within their culture. With oral traditions retold through generations, the social group maintains its continuity, handing down culture. This story is from a long-established culture, the Ashanti of West Africa in the country of Ghana. Ghana is a green stronghold of dense rainforests between the ocean and the desert. This home of the Ashanti people protects their oral traditions. The Ashanti have had a federation, a highly organized society for over 400 years. Still, today, as long ago, the Ashanti are superb artisans. They excel at makers of fine metalwork and as weavers of beautiful silk fabric. Into this fabric, they weave their rich symbols of their art and folklore. Sun, moon, creation, universe, the web of the cosmos, and Anansi, the spider. Anansi is a folk hero to the Ashanti. This funny fellow is a rogue, a wise and lovable trickster. He is shrewd and cunning and triumphs over larger foes. An animal with human qualities, Anansi is a mischief maker. He tumbles into many troubles. Here is one of his adventures. Anansi, he is spider to the Ashanti people. In Ashanti land, people love this story of Kwaku Anansi. Time was, Anansi had 6 sons. First son was called See Trouble. He had the gift of seeing trouble a long way off. Second son was Road Builder. Thirsty son was River Drinker. Next son was Game Skinner. Another son was Stone Thrower. And last of sons was Cushion, and he was very soft. All were good sons of Anansi. One time, Anansi went a long way from home. Far from home, he got lost. He fell into trouble. Can you see what happened to him? He got swallowed by a fish. Back home was son See Trouble. Father is in danger, he cried. He knew it quickly, and he told those other sons. Road Builder's son said, "Follow me." Off he went, making a road. They went fast, those 6 brothers, gone to help Anansi. Where is father now? Fish has swallowed him. Anansi is inside fish. River Drinker took a big drink. No more river. And then Game Skinner helped Father Anansi. He split open that fish. More trouble came right then. It was Falcon took Anansi up in the sky. Quick now, Stone Thrower. The stone hit Falcon and Anansi fell through the sky. Now Cushion ran to help father. Very soft, Anansi came down. They were very happy, that spider family. All home again. That night, Kuaku Anansi found a thing in the forest. What is this? A great globe of light? Oh, mysterious and beautiful, I shall give this to my son, said Anansi, to the son who rescued me. But which son of 6? Which deserves the prize? Nyami, can you help me? Oh, Nyami, called Anansi. For Ashanti people, Nyami is the god of all things. Anansi asked this of Nyami. Please hold the beautiful globe of light until I know which son should have it for his own. And so they tried to decide which son deserved the prize. They tried, but they could not decide. They argued all night. Nyami saw this. The god of all things, he took the beautiful white light up into the sky. He keeps it there for all to see. It is still there. It will always be there. It is there tonight. The end. I hope you will find out ways to help those in need and figure out your place in the community and know that we're all in this together. Amen and blessed be.
Our offering words are by Emil Gudmundson. And now may we have faith in life to do wise planting, that the generations to come may reap even more abundant than we. May we be bold in bringing to fruition the golden dreams of human kinship and justice. This we ask, that the fields of promise become fields of reality. Our morning offering will now be shared and so very gratefully received. And now I would like to introduce a special guest, Walt Holmes, retired high school history teacher and 26-year member of Neshoba. I am actually on study leave this week, and Walt graciously agreed to do the sermon. So Walt, if you would like to come up.
Today's reading is from Leviticus chapter 11, 20 through 23. Any flying insect that walks on 4 is an abomination to you. However, among the flying insects that walk on 4 legs, you may eat from those that have jointed legs, above its regular legs, from which they hop on the ground. From this category, you may eat the following: the red locust, the yellow locust, the spotted gray locust, and the white locust. But other flying insects that have 4 legs is an abomination to you. We UUs share the concept that we all have paths that we travel in our religious journeys. We all have very different paths and very different destinations. I'd like to share with you a segment of my religious journey as a high school teacher navigating through religion in public schools. This journey has two parts. Part one, the origins. Around the year 2000, there was interest in Shelby County schools to teach Bible in regular school day classes. They wanted to push those that would support kind of a religious agenda, and they wanted the staff to figure out if they could pull it off and teach religion in public schools. And this began a debate. You have the religious right that pushed for a Bible class in schools, and the liberal left who saw this as a violation of church and state. Through months and months of debate, eventually there was an idea of a compromise. Let's teach a comparative religion course. The reaction: it is altogether a bad idea to teach Hinduism, Buddhism, and voodoo and whatever else in our schools. This stated by a school board member. The next day in the commercial appeal: if they don't want God in our schools, they're not going to have Gandhi in our schools. And the debate continued. The following year, Shelby County board members learned of a new Bible curriculum course around the country that was under development by the Bible Literacy Project, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the academic and objective study of the Bible and its influence on Western culture. That sounded pretty good. The group was more of a religious right-leaning group, but they did want to have an academic religious course that was fair and with no agenda. And what emerged is going to be called Hebrew history, using the Jewish Bible, the Tanakh, as the history book. The religious right, liberal left, compromised and settled in what the course that was going to be called Intro to Hebrew Scriptures, sponsored by the Bible Literacy Project and supported by the First Amendment Center in 2002. This course was going to be taught strictly as a history class. I was interested, general curiosity mostly, a new course, something new to do. And I was also kind of afraid that the course would become somewhat of a Sunday school class pushed by a religious agenda by the evangelical right. Part of my real interest was that the board member that made the comments I stated earlier about certain religious philosophies that had no place in schools was a former student of mine. I had taught him years before, taught him Hinduism, Buddhism, almost every other world religion, even Gandhi, and a lot of my own personal viewpoints. I knew he would have to see my name on a list of teachers in this new exploratory course, and I would imagine the look of disgust on his face. That made me happy. I signed up as a potential teacher. I had to attend a week-long seminar in the introduction about this new course. The first day I sat down, and within minutes I decided I was bailing out. I could tell by the leadership in the room that they had a religious agenda. They had the authority to kind of push a certain type of class that I was not very comfortable teaching. And as I got up and walked out of the door, I passed by Rabbi Greenstein. We had met many times here at Neshoba, and we started talking, and quickly, why are we both in the same place at the same time? He said that he was there because he was invited to be part of the seminar to give the Jewish perspective of the Bible and how it might help us teach the class. And I figured if he was there, there was some hope. And I sat back down and endured the rest of the week. They invited a wide range of people to speak from across the country. The Bible Literacy Project representatives showed up to work on a crude, unfinished curriculum for us to work on and develop. There were college professors that taught religion. There were other high school teachers that taught mainly Bible and literature. We had lawyers, First Amendment lawyers, mostly about how to not get in legal trouble. And like Rabbi Greenstein, other local religious leaders showed up, gave their perspective of the Bible from their viewpoint. Talked about stories and what they meant, and maybe not necessarily a literal story, but the idea of there were different viewpoints. There was an evangelical conservative minister who spoke, and this marked the first time I got in trouble. He said the Bible would speak to them. You could just open it up, and the Bible would literally speak to the students. I leaned over to my friend and said, crap, this class is going to be easy. Open up some Bibles, throw them around the room, and sit back and let it go. I didn't realize the assistant superintendent was sitting behind me, and I got his first look of disappointment. The second part of this journey is the actual teaching the class. August 2002, the first class, Intro to Hebrew Scriptures, was taught in 5 schools in Shelby County schools at that point. It was taught during first period, which starts at 7 a.m. Shelby County Schools thought this would be a good idea because it would limit reporters showing up because it was so early. My principal commented, don't do anything to get in the news, don't do anything to get fired. The idea worked as far as the reporters. They showed up, they weren't allowed on campus, they came in the afternoon, they waited off campus as students walked home and started asking them questions and basically created a story that was told from 9th graders walking home from school who had no idea what was going on and didn't even know that this class existed. And nothing ever appeared in the media again. That part of the worry was gone. So this journey is with high school, teenage students, and religion. First day of class, 7 a.m. First class sucks no matter what. Nobody wants to be there, students or teachers. I realize here is a religious liberal teaching Jewish history to mostly right-wing evangelical Christians, and nothing could go wrong. The first day, which is always boring, the boring intro of here's the procedures and here's the class rules. This is how we're supposed to work, and we're supposed to really present the idea that this is a normal class. It's going to have grades and tests, and we're going to do attendance. And of course, most kids are never really all that excited. Even when I told them all the background and how this was controversial and how we were even going to have to make the curriculum because it was not done. I got that 7 a.m. glaze. I picked up a U.S. history book. Most of them took U.S. history the year before and looked at the book and held it up and said, this is my opinion of the book. It sucks. It's poorly written. It's hard to understand. There's not enough pictures. And I whipped it across the room into a trash can, making a loud racket. Got a little shock at 7 a.m. Then I reach over and I pick up a Bible and said the same banter. And I pretended to start to throw it at the trash can and paused. And their anticipation, I got a lot different reaction. I said, this is not going to be a normal class, just like every other class. I got the teenagers' attention. Then I thought, how else can I get their attention? Food. Teenagers love food. No matter what, if you have food in class, they're going to be there. But having food in class was really against the rules. But we manipulated the rules and called it festivals and finagled it into the curriculum. And anytime they wanted to have a festival, we would organize it and bring in a feast. It made it easy to eventually have a Seder. A 7 a.m. Seder did not have the same excitement, and of course there was no wine. One year a student forgot to bring the matzah for the Seder. The feast of unleavened bread didn't go quite so well, key part of the ceremony. But they enjoyed it. But I also had to deal with the normal teenage antics and getting out of control. One time I had to throw a kid out of class because he said Solomon was gay in terms of a derogatory comment about something being dumb, which I did not tolerate. He was ejected from the class. We eventually had a field trip to Temple, Israel. One student, who was one of the sweetest students I ever met, most polite, one of the best students I ever taught in all of my teaching career. She was very conservative and super on the Jesus. And in the most politeful, respectful way, she told a Jewish leader that he was going to hell during the field trip at Temple, Israel. The one student that I always remember the most, his name was Cal. Called him Crazy Cal. I don't think I can really get away with it these days. He had a lot of changes in behavior, sometimes extremely, extremely quiet, and sometimes would never shut up. At the field trip, I was informed that Cal had stole some yarmulkes. I talked to Cal about it, and he said, hey, they were in a bowl outside the door. I thought they were like mints. You could just pick one up. If they're in a bowl, you should have one. I go, no, they're for the people of this church, of the temple. It's for them. You need to put them back. Then Cal discovered there was a gift shop, and he could buy a yarmulke. And he bought the yarmulke and wore it to the restaurant, after lunch, back to school, and immediately as we walked into the building, walked into the principal's office and said, hey, how do you like my Hebrew helmet? I was called into a meeting later, and we had to discuss it. Once in the middle of a lecture discussion, Cal raises his hand. Do you think Bathsheba was hot? Not real sure. He goes, think so. And he basically took over the entire discussion for the rest of the class in great detail and explained why he thought Bathsheba had to be hot. Later in the semester, he asked if I thought Elijah would think Bathsheba was hot. I don't really know. And of course, he went back into his normal discussion about why Bathsheba was hot. He was a very good artist. He'd often show his pictures that he drew of how he thought Bathsheba would look. And in his version, she was very attractive. She was hot. Cal, and others gave their viewpoints, and I think the first class went off great with a few hitches. And we had to have that post-meeting with Shelby County Schools. We had to talk about the good, the bad, the future. And I got into an argument with the same assistant superintendent. He was very conservative religiously, but a great educator and really leaned on the legal side in terms of the First Amendment. The first year, they would not provide the Tanakh or the Jewish Bible for the class, and we had to make copies of it and kill lots of trees. And I said, we really need to have Tanakhs in the class. And he disagreed because of First Amendment, church and state. And I said, damn it, Jim, we have to have Bibles in class. And then there was the thought of the liberal arguing for Bibles against the conservative. There was a long pause and a lot of laughter from everybody, even that assistant superintendent. The very next year, Shelby County Schools provided Bibles for the class, and I stopped killing as many trees. I did hear about, but never confirmed, some local ministers would ask my students, their church members, what I taught that week. And then he would work it into his sermon, a rebuttal of what I taught. Don't really know if that really happened, but it sounded pretty good. This class would exist for 12 years. Other schools would eventually drop the course, and eventually I was the last one standing. I told people that I was the head of the religion department for Shelby County Schools. Every year, class took new dynamics. One year, half the class was liberals, and the other half were conservatives, and they sat on different sides of the class with rows of desks separating them, and they kind of stared at each other. Often the evangelical students objected to topics, and I threw them out of class. Some years, a class was full of wrestlers with the antics of teenage adolescent meatheads. They thought the words deuterocanonical and anthropomorphic were words I just made up. Eventually, I had a Jewish student. That was intimidating because she informed me of all the Jewish words that I had been butchering all along and continued to inform me on a daily basis. Seder's got much better with her in the class because she really could kind of guide us and direct us on the Seder. So we had the official props and plates and everything when she was there. One year I had a Jewish student, a Muslim student, an atheist, an agnostic, an intellectual, and a non-intellectual. Thought we'd kind of reach kind of the peak there. Students would call me Rabbi Holmes. Most knew I was not a rabbi. Some were not sure. The point of this story is to share a religious journey. You at U's are always looking for those journeys and those pathways to find what they're looking for. I learned a lot about in this class, mainly Jewish religion and its impacts upon Judeo-Christian origins. I also learned what most think is real meaning is not real meaning. Really have to ponder after God said, "Thou shalt not kill." and then the Hebrews proceeded to kill thousands under God's direction. But as a UU, I'm okay with that thought-provoking dilemma. I got others' views and really could not object or reject their opinions publicly. I may not agree or even respect their views, but I had to listen. It opened up the UU mind. It's easy to be in this room here and talk about openness into religious viewpoints, but to be out in the world and live it, we all have to figure out how to navigate that part. And it's a little different maybe in a religious forum. I also had to think about how to respect others' opinions as a teacher, create an open learning environment, and trying at the same time not to get fired from my job. As well as learning, is it maybe okay to eat locusts?
And now let's move into a time of meditation, reflection, and prayer. The words for our meditation this morning are by poet Walt Whitman. The sum of all known reverence I add up in you, whoever you are. Those who govern are there for you. It is not you who are there for them. All architecture is what you do to it when you look upon it. All music is what awakes from you when you are reminded by the instruments. The sun and stars that float in the open air, the apple-shaped earth and we upon it. The endless pride and outstretching of people, unspeakable joys and sorrows. The wonder everyone sees in everyone else they see, and the wonders that fill each minute of time forever. It is for you, whoever you are. It is no farther from you than your hearing and sight are from you. It is hinted by nearest, commonest, readiest. We consider Bibles and religions divine. I do not say that they are not divine. I say they have all grown out of you and may grow out of you still. It is not they who give the life, it is you who give the life. Will you seek afar off? You surely come back at last in things best known to you, finding the best or as good as the best. Happiness, knowledge, not in another place, but this place, not for another hour, but this hour. Let us consider these words in a brief silence. Amen. And until next week, blessed, blessed be.
With joy